Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HP Podcast, episode number 298. Oh, we're getting close to that 300. I don't know what that means, other than that we've been doing this a long time. But I'm Ben, and with me here today is Davey. Hello, Davey.
Hi,
How you
Ben.
doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Just
Good.
gearing up for a wedding on Friday.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a
you getting
wedding.
remarried already?
It's not mine, but I'm in the
Oh, okay.
wedding, so I got a
Okay.
haircut. I got my haircut.
Yeah.
I still need a tie, but other than that, I'm
Looking very
feeling ready to
handsome.
go. I got to
Yeah.
write a speech too.
Okay.
Yeah,
I find that writing the speech is much more difficult than giving the speech. It's always been my experience.
right.
But I'm not afraid of people. I don't care what they think of me. So that's the thing. It's like finding something that's actually nice to say because I've done this quite a few times, unfortunately. I say unfortunately because I hate being in weddings. I'm like, let me just come and hang out. Like, do I have to do something? But I've done this quite a few times, and every time it's like, okay, I got to write something that's like something somewhat meaningful, something that's somewhat funny, something that's not like in every movie. And then you get there and it's like it's fine, but I just didn't like writing it.
Yeah. So for our wedding, we actually limited the speeches to the bare minimum just because I found that with most of the weddings I went to, the speeches just boiled down to inside jokes. So
Oh yeah.
literally two people in the room know the significance of what's being said in the speech, and it's just there's the rest of the wedding is just sitting there being like, "Can we eat now, or can I go get
Hmm.
another drink?" And yeah, it just wasn't a great experience. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'll keep it short and sweet to the point.
Nice.
There'll be some pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
The
Of
front two
course.
rows will get wet.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, best wishes to the groom. I mean, I know you're supposed to say that to. No, you're supposed to say best wishes, right, to the groom. Anyway, I think I kind of sort of know the groom, but not haven't spoken to them in years. So
Yeah. Yeah.
let them know. I
Yeah,
said, hey, cool,
I will.
good job, Brandon. Do you have
What's
any
up?
weddings this weekend?
No,
Okay,
thankfully.
you're. As soon as you started speaking, you started
What's
cutting
up,
in and
guys?
out. That's not good.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's definitely
You're
not good at
Seems
all.
like you're back.
What are you
My bad.
downloading, Brandon?
Yeah, what are you downloading, Brandon?
I'm not downloading anything, guys. I swear. I did have Steam open before we started the show, but it's been closed since.
Okay.
Did you just hit
I
the X or did you
promise.
right click in the taskbar and close it?
It doesn't have the little icon underneath it, Ben.
Doesn't matter.
Did you close your incognito windows?
Doesn't.
I always forget about those.
How could I close them? Then I'll never remember what I looked up.
Well, hopefully you can get that sorted out. That's definitely significant lag. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out along the way. Guys, on your screen right now, we're getting into the show here, okay, I promise. But before we do that, on your screens, is StreamYard, what color is the background? Is it white or like blue or black?
It's like black with the white, like curvy stripes.
Yeah.
No, I mean like the part around that.
White.
Black. So they just first of all, I don't understand how this is possible. In the last week, they sent out an email and they were like, "Hey, by the way, we now have dark mode."
Ooh.
And I'm like, "Well, I want that because when I look at this website, it blinds me because I use everything else in dark mode, but this website didn't have it." And so now, I don't know if they did it because they like thought people might want more illumination for their faces or something along those lines. But it's very nice to look at now. I don't feel I've already got these lights in my eyes, and I've got other stuff going on my screen. I don't need this page to also be that way. Are you guys light or dark mode users mostly?
I'm 100% dark mode. I actually have it set up. There's like an experimental thing you could put on Chrome where it like
Yeah.
forces all things to be dark mode. It makes
Right.
some websites really fucked up, like they
Yeah.
don't look right. But at the end of the day, everything's dark, and that's the way
Yeah.
I like it. So
Yeah. Well, I am 100% with you as far as dark mode. When I see like somebody's phone or somebody takes a screenshot of like Twitter, I'm like, "What are you doing?"
I'm really
What are you
ignorant when it comes.
doing?
I like dark mode, but I just seem to forget that it's a thing with most websites. And Ben, one time I posted like a picture in like Discord of like my desk setup, and somebody from your Twitch community, Ben, who likes to make fun of me a lot, like caught wind or saw this and was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, Twitch is a dark mode. How did I not know that?" So, yeah, I
Yeah.
got flamed pretty hard for that by
Yeah.
Mr. Justin Guns. But
Oh, it was Justin. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. That doesn't surprise me. Dark mode is the way.
it is.
And anybody who disagrees is blind, apparently.
Yeah.
Because you're either blind from the brightness of the backlight or you're blind and can't tell the difference. So, Dave, get your shit together. You'll be able to sleep better with dark mode, both from an actual like physiological standpoint, but also from a moral standpoint. You'll know that you're a better citizen.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Guys, let's talk about something else. First of all, you can support us on Patreon over at patreon.com/handsomephantom. We appreciate it. You can sign up for as little as $1 a month. Help support the boys. We got bills to pay. You know, with this show, we don't really take any of it home for ourselves. We just keep the lights on for you guys. We appreciate that. If you want to sign up, get ad-free early access. We're live every Tuesday night at 7:00 or 7:00 Eastern on the Ben is Handsome channel and the Handsome Phantom channel. You can also catch us on free feeds audio on Thursdays if you're a patron, Wednesdays, sometimes even Tuesday nights. You can also hang out with us on Discord, handsomephantom.com/Discord. No membership required. Just come on over, hang out, be part of the party. Appreciate it. Let's talk about some news. The first news item is about Nintendo, kind of. I just opened this website. I opened gamesindustry.biz, and I have that forced thing off to turn everything dark mode, and it's white background, and it's killing me. It's actually draining the life out of my body right now. Lockmore just popped in the chat and said my blood hurts. I wonder if that's related to the dark mode, light mode conversation. I'm not sure. Okay, GamesIndustry.biz says Saudi Arabia's public investment fund has lowered its stake in Nintendo in contrast to recent reports that it would increase its holding. CNBC reported that according to a Japanese regulatory filing, the PIF's stake in the platform holder has been reduced from 8.58 to 7.54%. This still keeps it among Nintendo's largest shareholders. The fund originally took a 5.01% stake in Nintendo back in May of 2022. The filing flies in the face of news reports that emerged yesterday, this is a couple days ago now, suggesting that Saudi Arabia would raise its stake in Nintendo. This stemmed from an interview between Kyoto News and Prince Faisal bin Bandar bin Sultan Al Saud. Can you imagine having to write that out when you were a kid? Man, imagine. Vice chairman of Savvy Games Group, which is owned by the PIF. When asked about increasing its holdings in video game firms, he said it was always a possibility. But it turns out they've lowered it. Guys, I don't really know what the Saudi wealth funds, motivations are or anything else. Probably to make money for the Saudi, for Saudi Arabia. But it's interesting that they would remove or decrease their stake in Nintendo right before, presumably, the next console is going to be announced and come out. Obviously, that's going to have some games coming along with it, too, that are probably going to be pretty big for them. It just seems like a weird time to do that. You would think that it would go the opposite way, that they would want to have more of a stake. But turns out they didn't. What do you think's up with that, Dave?
I don't know. There's a lot of people online accusing them of the old pump and dump scheme where you try to inflate the price of a stock that you own and then, sell it off because if you raise the price by something you said. So I think if the Saudi or the PIF indicated that it was going to increase its share, that would have increased the price or the, the perception about Nintendo stock. I don't know if the value actually went up significantly, but I also think maybe those accusations are a little unfounded because an investor such as the PIF doing something like that, like you can see just by what you just mentioned, Ben, how much any action they take is in the spotlight. But whatever the reason is I'm happy that the PIF has reduced their stake in Nintendo because Nintendo is a company I really love. and I don't like anything that could potentially influence what a company I love does. And a big company like this, I prefer that they kind of have more diversified investments rather than just a couple of big stockholders or equity holders. So whatever the reason is, I'm happy to see less potential control behind this behind the scenes based on what stockholders hold a controlling interest in the company. So yeah, a really weird kind of move, but at the end of the day, I'm happy with how this resulted. And again, this is the same Saudi group that pulled out of the Embracer deal that ended up allowing Take Two, was it?
Yeah.
Or 2K and Take Two. I always mix those two up. Randy Pitchford to go free and hopefully save the Borderlands franchise. So, yeah, two weird sort of instances that resulted in good news, in my opinion. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's worth noting. I mean, we already did note, but they only decreased it by a little over 1%, which is like, we still want to have an ownership stake there, a significant ownership stake, honestly, but we want to get a little cash out here too. It doesn't seem like they're in need of extra cash. The Saudi Wealth Fund. Brandon, any takes on this? Any thoughts? I know you're big in the stocks and really financially minded.
Yeah, I mean, not really. A whopping 1% of Nintendo stake is obviously nothing to scoff at. I'm sure that's a sizable stake by all standards, but yeah, I mean, guys, do the Saudis know something about Nintendo that we don't? Have they seen a failure in the future? I'm praying on their downfall, honestly.
Have
They're
they,
upset
played,
about the
have they
emulation.
played Metroid Prime?
1%. They played something that disgusted them. The performance on the new Zelda game
Oh.
on dock mode. They played it and they're like, this deserves 1 less percent. This is disgusting. Well, before we were going to increase 1%, now we're going to decrease 1% because that is up. Dave knows. So
Yeah. I wonder what else they're going to do with that money. Like, where are they going to put it? Because this is a fund to make money. They got to be funneling it somewhere else, right? They're not just going to hold it. I don't know.
probably taking it out. The holidays are coming up.
It's true. Got to get the layaway going. Yeah. Radix says they can invest in probably Monsters. That's the group that owned Concord, or what was it? What's the name of that studio? I've already forgotten. Firewalk?
Firewalk, yeah.
It's the studio that owned Firewalk before Sony bought them. So that's a good move there. They really, maybe they do know how to spend their money. I don't know. We'll see. Let's move on to something that really matters, guys. Little Big Planet 3 is getting delisted. This also comes from gamesindustry.biz. Says, oh my gosh, it doesn't say anything. What's going on here?
It's just
The
links
website
to
just
a
disappeared. Yeah, okay. The Little Big Planet Twitter says, an important update on Little Big Planet 3 and Little Big Planet DLC on the PlayStation Store. Last chance to purchase Little Big Planet 3 on PS4 and the Little Big Planet DLC. After 10 years of playing, creating, and sharing content in Little Big Planet 3, the game and our entire range of Little Big Planet DLC will be removed from the PlayStation Store on October 31st, 2024. Anyone that currently owns or purchases Little Big Planet 3 or any Little Big Planet DLC before it is delisted for sale will still be able to access their purchased games and content after its removal. This is a friendly heads up that if anyone in the community or any newcomers still wish to own a digital copy of Little Big Planet 3 or any DLC, this is your last chance to do so. Thank you for your continued support and understanding. Boys, it's fine. Like, Little Big Planet 3, it's been out for 10 years. It's, it's run its course. Everybody who probably have wanted to play it has played it or owns it. But why? Why is this going away? Like, what is the point here?
I don't know. I mean, I would say to draw more attention to Sackboy: A Big Adventure, but we all know how poorly that did as well. And it's been so long that I don't understand the angle really. I can't imagine all of the DLC that Radek's been tweeting about is generating that much money. Um, but yeah, there's certainly a lot of content for this game, a lot of costumes, a lot of cosmetics, and I couldn't imagine it would do them that much harm to keep it up for sale. Um, Maybe they're hoping to squeeze a little bit extra out of Sackboy. Maybe they're gonna. Is it possible, guys, that they're gonna have a PlayStation 5 Pro Sackboy update? Like, I don't know. What the fuck is the play here?
The weird thing is like the I see Ed said in chat server and maintenance cost money. They shut the servers down in January, and that was when they shut it down, and then they said it might come back up, and then it was just okay. It's going to be out indefinitely. And at that point, we knew like this is the end. So I'm with you, Brandon. I don't understand like what the issue is with just keeping it listed. And Radek again points out that licensing, but what is licensed in the game that's costing the money? Oh, because this has been, I don't know, 10, 12 years since the game launched. So I don't, is there licensed music in the game that I'm not aware of?
Probably. There probably
Yeah,
is.
Probably,
but-
and then a lot of cosmetics are licensed. Like there's a lot
Okay.
of crossover, which you know that solves that problem. Delist the DLC.
Yeah,
That might not.
it's,
I don't know.
and I did a little digging, and there was a lot of speculation about the reason that the servers went online because it was a target for hackers. And some of the speculation was that there was something about LittleBigPlanet and its servers, and maybe something with Media Molecule that made it particularly vulnerable to this sort of thing. So maybe whatever that issue was did not go away with the servers just being shut offline, because unless it's a licensing thing, there is no reason why this game, already being an offline game, cannot stay listed on the store. So it's a really, really weird situation. It's sad to see, but I guess like Astrobot just blasted down the doors of Media Molecule and just said, "Look at me, I'm the captain now."
Seriously,
There's a new
yeah.
kid on the block apparently. But yeah, it's sad though, because I mean a lot of people had a lot of really good memories from LittleBigPlanet. I will never forget the first announcement of LittleBigPlanet. I think it was at E3, and that's when I was like so hyped for PlayStation 3, and I was seeing all the cool social things that was going on, and this creator thing was just like, it was so awesome. And I looked at it, I'm like, I'm never going to create a level in that game, but it's going to be so much fun just playing it and playing other people's stuff. So it really is sad, because this does feel like the death of Sackboy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and as a little bit more clarification, people asked if you claimed it, if you claimed LittleBigPlanet 3 on PS Plus, will you get to keep it? And they said if you've downloaded LittleBigPlanet 3, I assume that means redeemed. Hopefully not just downloaded, but redeemed it. You'll still be able to play it, as well as any of the DLC. You'll still be able to play all of it if you already own it, but it's just a matter of buying it. But yeah, I agree with you guys. I don't really understand for an offline game that doesn't have any maintenance. Now, granted, they have to pay for the servers that host the files for the game for people to download it, but they're going to have to keep doing that anyway, because people who already have it can re-download it. They have already they could just delist the DLC, which is where most of the licensing stuff would be. The music may be the exception there, but either way, it sucks. Sackboy's Big Adventure, as you mentioned, great game. I enjoyed it, but it did not sell well. Didn't do well at all. So hopefully, like, it's bad enough that the game has failed and that we're probably at the end or maybe close to the end of ever seeing Sackboy in a new game again. But why they got to go and piss on his grave too? You know, at the same, they're not just they're digging it up and moving it away from even being able to see it. So
Sad.
give me a second. I got the coughs. I was hoping there when I said "give me a second," you guys would like pick up and have a discussion, but Nope.
I was doing a moment of silence.
thank you.
For
Sackboy.
for Sackboy, yeah.
According to Radix, Sackboy sold 1.5 million, and he says that's according to the Insomniac leaks. I assume he means Sackboy's Big Adventure. 1.5 million across PS5, PS4, and PC. By the way, that's all of that included. I'm pretty sure.
Is that better than Outlaws?
Yeah, actually,
Allegedly.
for the first month. For the first month, it's better.
Did you guys play Sackboy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You both
Yeah, I
liked
have it.
Yeah.
I think I have it physically, actually.
Okay.
I definitely have it physically. But when you said that, it reminded me of the part in The Office where somebody asked Michael, like, have you ever read, whatever book? And he's like, read it? I own it. But no, I haven't read it. Have you guys played it? Yeah, I have it.
No, I didn't play it.
This comes by way of GamesRadar.com. It says, we all love to play, but the unfortunate truth is that at some point all games must come to an end, whether it's because you get squashed by a rolling boulder through the control. I don't need this shit, okay? This intro shit. Play Magazine, number 46, is on shelves October 15th, and subscribers will, of course, get it before that. It is going away. They are shutting down the entire magazine, and I don't really want to talk specifically about this magazine because it sucks that it's getting shut down, but I want to talk more about just magazines in general. This isn't it's a news item, I guess, and that another magazine is being shut down, but really I want to talk about just magazines in general. Do they still have a place? Do you guys have fond memories, or do you think anybody cares anymore?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want to reminisce a little bit. I know for me, I used to get like PlayStation Magazine, a couple of the different official PlayStation magazines for a long time. I got PC Gamer magazine, Electronic Games Monthly. Now, these weren't ones I had subscriptions to and stuff. I would go and like pick them up at the store occasionally when I could. I used to get music magazines pretty frequently. And I'm just curious, is there a spot for monthly recurring magazines anymore?
Yeah.
Dave, what's your magazine story? And let's just stick to the game magazines, okay, Dave? I don't need to
Yeah,
know
so
about the rest.
I'm going to ignore your request because skateboarding magazines were big for me
That's
back
fair.
in the day, and
Yeah.
I actually had one point where an entire wall in my bedroom was covered in just pictures I'd taken out of skateboarding magazines, and just put them up everywhere. But I'm with you. I think GamePro was the first one I sort of was picking up regularly, but I was also really big into PSM, PlayStation Magazine, and OPM, I think were the same thing, and now it's turned into Play, which is basically they're the official PlayStation Magazine, or PSM PlayStation Magazine. EGM, like you mentioned, Game Informer was another big one, and strategy guides. I love strategy guides, and yeah, they were just a cool thing to have, and I wasn't even buying them to like read up on the latest and greatest of what was going on in gaming, because at the time I was buying them, I was also online, like on IGN and Game Trailers and GameSpot and stuff like that. I just like looking at pictures and reading about the games and seeing people talk about games, and they were really good, like just coffee table or like bathroom reading material. And yeah, they were such a cool thing to have, and it's really sad to see them go, but I think magazines will stick around for a while. I say that because every time I go into a grocery store or a drugstore, there's still a massive wall of them, and
Yeah.
there's still a certain demographic that is buying these things, and they will until they die. So I think we have a couple more decades of magazines being prevalent, but for this specific industry, there's just no place for them. Like, we see the way that physical discs are dying. There's no way that magazines are sticking around if discs are going away. But yeah, actually, just sort of on this topic, I saw this video going around of someone calling into the Nintendo Power call center, like back in the like late 80s or early 90s, and the guy, like, they had the whole thing recorded and it was on like NBC News, and the guy's like, hey, I'm on this level in Zelda and I'm trying to do this and it just won't work, and the guy's sitting there on a computer, like playing a game, and like he knows exactly what the guy is talking about, and it was like just these days of like calling in a phone number to get help with a video game. And like magazines and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's wild how we used to kind of consume this stuff, and it's all on the internet now. So
That
it's,
was a free service at the
yeah.
beginning, at least. That's crazy.
Yeah. And just the fact that you had this person, like, if you guys can think of one game where you would work at the call center for, in that somebody could call you and give you a sentence and you could help them exactly with where you were. For me, it would probably be Metal Gear Solid 2 Guns of the Patriots. I know I've gotten off topic, but I think that's the one game. Sorry, Sons of Liberty. I said Guns of the Patriots. That's the one game where I think I could tell somebody verbatim, regardless of where they were in the game, how to do something. But
Yeah. Brandon, any affinity for magazines?
Yeah, I mean, this is coming off the backs of what we talked about maybe a month ago. I have a
Game
lot of
Informer.
similar, yeah, I have a lot of similar thoughts I had then, so I don't kind of want to tread over old ground. I will say that it doesn't come as a surprise on the back of that news because I feel like a much more niche magazine has way less of a chance of surviving if a magazine like Game Informer has went under. Not to, it's not a mark of the quality of play. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that when you could reach a broad audience, that's just more people to buy your magazine. So the fact that the audience on this magazine is subjectively smaller, but yeah, I mean, this sucks to see, but yeah, it's going to be more and more. And I think that video game websites are struggling to monetize, period, right now, let alone something physical, something that has way smaller margins than putting something on a website. So I don't know. Yeah, this does suck to see, but not surprising. All in all, so I'd say maybe Dave, to answer your question, maybe mine. BioShock is like so linear that I feel like nobody should have a question about that. That would probably be one of mine, but also I guess Elden Ring. It's way more open ended. I could probably talk through somebody with something like that, but what a legendary service! Just imagine, because if you didn't call that line like it wasn't a Nintendo game, you're just like calling your buddy or just like suffering.
Yeah.
Or like hope that somebody else that you know had played it, or like you just keep trying. That's the original roguelike when you can't figure out a game and you just have to keep bashing your head up against it and dying. So
Yeah, it's funny now when I run into an obstacle in a game, I will try it for a good while, and then eventually I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, and when I say a while, I'm pretty stubborn, so it's a while. But eventually, I will go look it up if I'm getting stuck on a puzzle or something, And you can do that immediately now. You can go and you can find a walkthrough written with pictures or GIFs. You can go
videos.
and find YouTube videos. You can find somebody on a forum talking about it. Like, it's crazy that we can just go access that all immediately. But back in the day, man, you either had to go out and buy the strategy guide, you had to find it in a magazine, or you could call the helpline, the Nintendo helpline. It's insane. Magazines, I've mentioned them before, but I'm going to mention them again. If you're looking for old school PlayStation magazines, RPM, the unofficial retro PlayStation magazine. Too Old for Gaming does them. They do them. I think they're on their fourth one, just launched. Check them out. They're like individually funded, Kickstarter funded, and you get the magazine, and it's a actual physical magazine. You also get the PDF, I think, as well. But if you have that itch for magazine style stuff, it's not going to be brand new news. It's usually like reviews of old games and stuff like that. But there are still a few out there that kind of resurrect that feeling, I guess you could say.
I've also noticed a lot of retro gaming stores are starting to carry the strategy guides and the magazines now that
Yeah.
are in really good condition. So good
Yeah.
place to look for that stuff too.
For sure. It's cool to like look through them and see, because they all used to have like people write in, look through them and see like what people were talking about. And some people would meet friends through those. Like you could literally write in and be like, "Hey, I'm looking for a person to talk to about gaming. Here's my email address." Just in a magazine.
Dude, LFG, IRL.
The original LFG. The original LFG. All right. Red Dead 1 is coming to PC. We've been talking about this for a while, that it needs to happen. So it's this is directly from Rockstar Games. For the first time in its storied legacy, John Marston's beloved journey can be experienced on PC in stunning new detail with both Red Dead Redemption and its iconic zombie horror companion story Undead Nightmare, arriving to PC on October 29th. In collaboration with Double 11, this new version adds PC-specific enhancements, including native 4K resolution at up to 144 Hz on compatible hardware, monitor support for both ultra-wide and super ultra-wide, HDR10 support, and full keyboard and mouse functionality. Also support for DLSS 3.7, FSR 3.0, upscaling technologies. Those two things are upscaling technologies. DLSS frame generation, adjustable draw distances, shadow quality settings, and more, etc., etc. Boys, this is good and bad for me. It's really good because this is a game that should not be stranded on old hardware. And I know they've done some, hey, we're going to release this again for $60 or $70 on newer hardware, whatever. and that's been fine. And there's backwards compatibility some places, but the fact that it's going to be on PC means it is immortal now. As if it weren't before in some way, but it is actually like, if a game's on PC, it will never go away. Even if somebody takes it away, it'll be there. So I'm really happy about this. I'm happy that they're including Undead Nightmare because, in my opinion, Red Dead 1 is one of the best games of all time, but Undead Nightmare is right up there, like as its own standalone, even without the rest of Red Dead. But Brandon, I see you nodding vociferously as the resident Red Dead 2 lover here.
Yeah, actually, I'm more of a Red Dead 1 lover. Like, I genuinely, and, you know, I'm learning to love Red Dead 2 for all it's worth. But Red Dead 1 is my bread and butter. I absolutely adore that game. Undead Nightmare, even being somebody who is kind of like over zombies and has been over zombies way longer than anybody else in the entire world has been, thinks that DLC is one of the best DLC of any game that has ever existed. So this is really
these zombies came out a long time before the zombie craze, though. Really,
I know, but still,
yeah.
I'm not any less excited even after all these years. So yeah, just super quality. I love that they put some extra features in it. Obviously very feature heavy. I love to see that it's not just a standard port here. We have full PC functionality in all of its glory. So this is amazing news. I was considering going back and playing the first one after finishing the second one. Ideally, finishing the second one would be this year. So maybe I'll get to play the first one this year as well, or at least start it. But we'll see. I could literally do 100% of the first game. Like, I could do everything there is possibly to do in the first game, and it would take about the same amount of time as it's taken me to just do the story in the second one. So, yeah, it's a little bit more bite-sized. It's a little bit more manageable. And the fact that I'd be able to play it in 1440p at 144 frames sounds absolutely amazing. So, yeah, really looking forward to this. It's about fucking time. And one last thing I will say about it is it's funny because I don't know if you guys have been seeing online, like, something always releases next to Horizon.
Yeah.
And there was, to, like, overshadow it or, like, you know, compete with it. And nothing was near the remake of Zero Dawn until now. So something, you know, the entire industry continues to conspire against Guerrilla on release day. So nonetheless, I'm very excited.
Dave, I don't know if this moves the needle for you. I know that you're not much of a PC gamer, but is this good? Is this a good thing?
I'm happy about this because I can run this. I'm sort of on a aging GPU right now. Ben, if you're interested in selling me your old card, offer still out there. So
my wife will have things to say about that.
She can run Roblox on her Mac. Okay.
Mario teaches typing. Actually,
So this is something I might actually check out, and everybody's sitting down, so I'm happy that you're sitting down before I say this. I have not played Undead Nightmare.
That's okay.
So this is an opportunity for me to do that. But there's no price. I didn't see a price in the article. The Steam listing doesn't have a price. Anybody wondering what this is going to cost or what it should cost?
Full price.
Yeah, I'm imagining it's going to be full price, and then by full price, I mean $60. But part of me wonders if they put this out there hoping to draw reactions and see what the consensus is before they put a price tag on it, or like find out how many wish lists it gets, and if it's not as many as they were hoping for, they'll bump it down a little bit. If it's what they thought, I don't know. Maybe I'm just conspiring here, but
yeah, I don't know. And Edward in the chat says 50 at least. That to me is a little much for pretty much a straight port of a pretty old game, but if it's that price, I'm just going to go and buy the 360 version and replay it there. But in any case, I also want to say that I am happy to see that this is a straight port, simply because we don't want to complicate things with another outsourced Rockstar remaster.
Yeah.
Which I think everybody's happy about. And games like these have actually aged pretty well. So I think, the little extra features that they put on it was I think more than enough. In bundling it with Undead Nightmare is a good approach. So I think this is the way to go. And people have been asking for this for a long, long time, even just in our community here. So it's I'm excited to see that this is finally coming. And as you said, Ben, immortalized on PC.
Yeah. It's funny because I didn't even know about Red Dead when it came out originally on the 360, and a buddy of mine was like, "You got to play this game." And I was like, "Okay." So he gave it to me, let me borrow it, and I played it there. And then Undead Nightmare came out shortly after I had played it, and I played it. He let me. Somehow I was able to play it. I didn't buy it, and it wasn't for a couple of years until I realized I didn't own it. So I went out and bought Red Dead, and I bought it from like, I don't know, a closing down video game store or something like that. I bought it used somehow. And it said on the box that it came with Undead Nightmare. And then I realized that it needed a code to come with Undead Nightmare. So I didn't have Undead Nightmare. So then for like another, and I was, I don't want to say broke, but like masters, newly married, between my master's program and being newly married, sometime in there. And there was this old website called Goozex where you could trade games. And you would get tokens for every game you traded. And every game would be like a different amount of tokens. And I finally got enough tokens. And it wasn't that I couldn't buy it. It was just that I was like trying to, get rid of some of my old inventory and get some new inventory, whatever. And I finally got enough tokens to buy it. And I went on and nobody had it, like to trade, even though they had previously. And then the website shut down like a couple weeks later. And I lost all my tokens because the website shut down. So I just went out and bought it then after that.
God damn it.
Undead Nightmare. Undead Nightmare. So good, man. Really is.
Yeah.
Radix says it's no Until Dawn remake. That's for sure. Man, have you guys seen that stuff? It just runs absolutely terrible, apparently.
I saw somebody that was like, do yourself a favor, and if you haven't played it, just play the old one.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the saddest part of all, is that game's so amazing, and I would love to be able to endorse. I was excited about this. I'm not excited enough to buy it because I've played it many, many times.
Yeah.
But excited enough for when it goes on sale that I was probably going to get it just because it means a lot to me. But if it's so bad, I'm not going to bother. PS5 version is fire. Is this true? Can anyone else substantiate this? Because if the PS5 version is completely fine, I may get it. But
don't you already have the old one?
Yeah.
Is it really that much? Like, is the new one really that much better?
It's one of my favorite games.
Okay, that's fair. If it's one of your favorite games, that's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't mention this earlier when we were talking about magazines, but there is a podcast episode from A Life Well Wasted, the podcast A Life Well Wasted. It's episode number 1. It's the death of EGM, and Robert Ashley, the host, just goes around and interviews old EGM employees. Like, it was right after it had shut down. It's a really good listen. A lot of it's just like telling jokes about the office, but if you were into EGM, this is a good podcast episode to listen to. It's 15 years old at this point, but it's a good listen still. Radix says he's having 0 issues on PS5, but Alex says it's not fine or fire. So
I'll watch the Digital Foundry video.
Watch the Digital
Dave.
Foundry.
Oh.
Yeah. Boys,
Sorry,
it's time
Dave.
to talk about what we've been playing. Brandon, kick us off.
Hold on a second, fellas. Do we want to talk about Halo? I know it wasn't in the show notes, but
we should talk about Halo. We should talk about Halo.
Ben, I did queue up an article here. Do you want me to kick it off, or
Yes, please.
Okay. IGN.com. Future Halo games moving to Unreal Engine 5 as 343 Industries rebrands. Multiple projects are in development. The future of Halo is starting to come into focus. During Sunday's World Halo Championships, 343 Industries made a number of announcements, including that it will officially be changing its name to Halo Studios and that it's working on multiple new games. In addition, the newly rebranded studio says that all future projects will be developed on Unreal Engine, leaving behind the Slipspace engine utilized by Halo Infinite. The announcements were unveiled in a 7-minute video shown ahead of the Halo World Championships Grand Finals, which showcased the results of Project Foundry, an experimental project designed to show a Halo game built using the Unreal Engine. Well, it's not much more than a tech demo. It offers a glimpse at a fresh new beginning for Xbox's flagship franchise in the wake of 2021's Halo Infinite. Yeah, I just does this make either of you feel more, less, or about the same level of confidence in the future of the Halo series? Brandon.
I will say that this is interesting news, and I guess I'm glad to see that they're making an effort to change. I will say this makes me feel absolutely nothing, though. I think that 343 was smart to distance themselves from the name where they fucked things up for so many years. I think it's going to be good that they may be able to confuse some people into thinking that there's something. They weren't the ones that messed up the Master Chief Collection forever, or put out some mid shit. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think the problem with the games has been the engine necessarily. In the past 10 years, I think there's more glaring issues. So although I've talked very highly of Unreal Engine 5, and I think even the tech demo, for what it's worth, does look exceptional because of the technology in Unreal Engine 5, I think that this does little to nothing to give me confidence in the future of Halo. I think that we've talked many times about how studios sometimes want to make things look so pretty, and they don't end up getting the point of anything else about the game. And I'm not saying that's the thing. Obviously, they want it to look cool. They want to show off the new engine. I get that. But I just hope we're not moving towards a future where we're changing for anything other than to make the game itself better. And I'll reiterate, the visuals of Infinite or the past couple before that were not the problem. So yeah, I don't know. This makes me feel nothing. I mean, I guess it is cool to see, especially because it's kind of stagnated over the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years. But it doesn't really give me much confidence other than it just being intriguing news. So,
Ben.
I am similarly minded to Brandon. In that I'm not really sure this moves the needle much for me. I already like Halo. I'm going to play every Halo that ever comes out. But I don't know if this makes me hopeful for the future, because we've had a lot of broken promises so far, and it's hard to recover from the damage I think they've done to the Halo brand at this point. What I am happy about is that they're continuing to work on Halo. Regardless of how I feel about games from game to game, I still love Halo. So I'm going to continue to enjoy the games, I'm sure, to at least to the extent that I'm able. So I'm hopeful of that. But I do wonder, Dave, what do you think about the fact that they're moving to Unreal? I don't know that there's any reason their current engine couldn't run on PlayStation, but do you think there's any validity to the idea that maybe moving to Unreal helps them be able to port the game to other platforms more easily?
Yeah, I mean, that would definitely be a massive advantage. My only other thought was, is this a cost savings move? Because Slipspace was a proprietary 343 engine, and while they make the engine, it probably costs. They probably have a whole department just dedicated to maintaining that. And I think when you move from one generation to the next, or the beginning of a console's life cycle to towards the end, an engine probably needs a lot of quality of life updates, just anything to keep it so the product it outputs is the best it can be. So maybe this is just a way of streamlining. The other thing that the article went on to talk about is how this name change at 343 isn't just about changing the name, but it's a whole different culture is coming into the studio and brand new workflows and stuff like that. So I wonder how much of this engine decision is part of changing the way the studio and hopefully Microsoft looks at producing Halo. But you're right, Ben. I think this is probably just as much about bringing Halo to other platforms, whether that be PC, obviously, or PlayStation, or inevitably Nintendo Switch. So,
and it is already on PC. I know you weren't saying that it isn't, but
no. But yeah, and the only other thing I want to echo is I'm with you. They haven't shown anything new. A tech demo is a tech demo, but this, at least the bare minimum, shows a commitment to Halo. And there was a part of me that was starting to get a little bit worried about the future of Halo. I wasn't going to say that, Microsoft was going to walk away completely, but I could see this series going on ice for a little bit, and this at least tells me that Microsoft is committed to righting the ship and giving us more Halo for years to come. So at the very least, that's what I got out of this, and I'm excited to hear about that. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's the biggest piece for me too, is that just that, okay, well, if they're making this big of an effort and moving, and I mean, it is such a monumental franchise for them, of course, but it makes me think that it makes me know that they're gonna keep working on it. And if you're gonna sink this kind of money into switching engines, then of course you're going to invest more money in a new game that will make you more money and recoup that investment, I would assume. So, not that I ever thought Halo was going to go away necessarily. I didn't know what it was going to look like though in the future. And innovating is always good, provided it's a good product and has good design and has good monetization methods and everything else. But we'll see. We'll see ultimately what ends up happening. Edward Walton says it should also be easier to hire talent when UE5 is becoming the de facto engine used by a good portion of the industry. That's a very good point. Yeah, obviously, if you go to work for 343 before they switch to UE5, you got to learn their engine, which is proprietary and really only used by them. And understanding and knowing engines is such a huge part of the actual coding and development of games that I can imagine it's a good recruitment tool as well. Or maybe not a good recruitment tool, but you have a lot larger pool of people you can recruit.
Hopefully, the next Halo's menus won't be so goddamn awful like Halo Infinite's is. Hopefully, Unreal Engine 5 can help them fix that shit.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was a design decision, not a software limitation. But
You stupid. That's what I say.
Now, do you want to talk about what we've been playing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Brandon, take it away.
So mine's really boring. I honestly have not been playing very many video
Talk about
games
it a lot.
This
Talk
past
about
week.
it.
Dude,
Tell us all about it.
There is nothing new to fucking say about Astrobot. I'm still playing it. It's still fun. I haven't even played it that much, to be honest with you, because I'll play it for let's just say this. I'll play it until I get aggravated, and then I turn it off. I'm so bad at platformers, guys. I didn't grow up with platformers. I'm like a shooter guy through and through. I grew up playing driving games of all sorts, Twisted Metals, Gran Turismos, Need for Speeds, and then I switched into shooting games. I never grew up on these platformers like most of the people around me have, and I'm still bad at platformers. I'm trying, but I will play until I get frustrated. I played a little bit of Crash. I guess that's kind of a platformer. But yeah, I'll play until I get aggravated. Mostly it's just the shape levels that are really pissing me off. The game isn't difficult at all. But the face button levels, like the circle, triangle, yeah. So, not that I'm even giving it that much of a go. It's just like I will try it for like 4 or 5 runs, and then it's like 9 o'clock at that point, and I'm getting tired. And it's like, well, do I want to get aggravated at this, or do I want to sit and watch somebody else play video games on Twitch and fall asleep on my couch? And most of the time, I end up falling asleep on the couch. So, it's been good. I got to get back into it. Time is running low on the Red Dead, so I'm gonna have to finish that back up. And my goal this month is to not wait till the last 3 days of the month to stream again. So we will see how that goes. We're only 8 days in, so I'm gonna give myself a little bit more time this month if I can. But Astrobot still great. I am I think I'm on the boss level of the next to the last world. So I'm getting there.
Is it because you feel like you have to complete each level? Because you could just skip those challenge levels.
No.
If that's what's bogging you down.
No, I can't.
Okay.
That's the thing, is that like, as much as I'm saying I don't want to get aggravated, it doesn't mean that I'm not enjoying it. It's just like I don't want to be frustrated usually. The time of night that I play it, I'm just too tired, and if I bang my head up against it too much, I'm just, specifically because it's a platformer, because if it was anything else, I probably would just persist. But yeah, that's that. So just Astrobot for me this week. That's literally it. But we were at I will say this, it's not what I've been playing, but I will be playing it soon. We were at the Pittsburgh Gaming Expo this past week, which was a lot of fun, and I picked up a game called Fusion Frenzy for the original Xbox. I don't know if you guys have ever played that, but I'm looking forward to playing it. It's a Mario Party-esque game that was for the original Xbox. They made a second one that's supposedly really bad, but I'm looking forward to playing the first one. I got it physically. So,
You pick up anything else?
no.
Okay.
While we were there, we also saw Roger Clark and Benjamin Byron Davis, who play Arthur Morgan and Dutch Vanderland, and I really wanted to somehow finagle you into going over to them and being like, "Hey guys, I think your game is probably good, but I hate it, and my friends are threatening me, forcing me to play it."
They said they're gonna force feed me an edible and make me play Scorn if I don't do this,
Yes.
or make me play some weeb game where a scary girl has a big donk and a large sword, and the colors are very drab. So I hear.
It's true. That's true. Dave,
I'm drawing a blank. What game are you referring to there?
Near.
A lady with a short
Near.
skirt and a fat ass and a large sword and a drab color scheme. The
Did you
last part
say
was for you, Dave.
A weed game?
Weeb.
Weeb. Okay, that's what threw me off. Yes. Hi Ben. What have
Hi.
I been playing?
Talk about Zelda second.
Let's talk about it second. Okay.
Yeah, because that's what I've been playing.
I've been watching The Penguin, like most people. And Ben, I'm going to listen to your podcast, so don't worry. I'm actually really looking forward to it. So I got the urge to play pop in Arkham City. So this is one of the games that I picked up for my 360 when I bought it earlier this year. And yeah, I just got the urge to play Batman after watching one of the better pieces of Batman multimedia to come out in the past several years. And yeah, I think when I bought this game, I held it up on screen and I was like, this is one of the best open world games of our generation. I still feel that way. I will say that this, like, having just come off the Gear series and playing this, I think this generation of games have aged so well from a gameplay perspective and from an art design perspective. But from a visual graphic perspective, they're starting to show their age, which is okay because they were pretty ambitious. But one of the first things I noticed when I popped it in is like, I don't remember this looking this bad, just like facial animation, stuff like that. But otherwise, like, it's just crazy how much from the Arkham series became standard in other games. And that's why I'm enjoying going back to some of these old games so much, as you see like how much they revolutionized, within genres. And there's just so many examples of that within Batman. And yeah, I love this game. And I would really love to, I don't know, what do you call it when you platinum an Xbox game, 100% gamer score, whatever. I don't know if I
Part
could
of
do
their
that.
problem is they have nothing to call it. Yeah.
Just, yeah. I would love to see every single nook and cranny in this game, but those Riddler trophies are just so intimidating, and I don't know if I could ever do it. But yeah, Arkham City is a really, really good game.
Yeah.
I've also mostly been playing Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and when I talked about this last week, I had mentioned that I was having a really good time with the game. It's quintessentially Zelda, but I was feeling a bit of a learning curve when it came to how to address the combat situations, which, again, as I said, I would come into a room or a dungeon room, there would be some enemies, and my first inclination would be to go up and whack them with the sword, which is not the point of this game. I'm probably pushing like 15 hours into the game. I've completed 4 dungeons, and I'm happy to say that I think I've gotten it, and I'm actually really enjoying experimenting with combat situations in a way that I wasn't before. What I was doing before is I was just kind of spawning dark nuts and letting them do the dirty work, but like there are so many different creative ways to take out enemies, whether it's setting them on fire with like a fire enemy, or like spawning like a cube of water and watching them drown, or like boxing them in with beds and just running away from them. Like there's a lot of cool different things you can do, and I think you need to get out of your comfort zone with the echoes that you can spawn and just kind of experiment. And don't be afraid to fail, because that's when you kind of come across new and creative ways to deal with situations in this game. So yeah, I'm having a really, really good time with it. I don't know if I'm getting towards the end, but I really hope I'm not, because it's got its claws in me, that's for sure. Ben, I know you've been playing. What are your thoughts on
Yeah,
Zelda?
I didn't get this game. It didn't get delivered to me until like Thursday last week, and then I didn't get to play it till Friday. So I've only got, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours into it at this point. We'll start with the really good. The really good is I love the art style. I love the fact that it kind of copies the art style of the Link's Awakening remake, which, by the way, I realized I didn't own. I had borrowed it to play it. So this weekend at the Pittsburgh Gaming Expo, I made sure to pick up a copy because I wanted it for myself, but I want my kids to play it too. So I think it's really good. But I very much enjoy the art style. I mean, it's a little cutesy, but it's okay because it's good, so it doesn't matter. The fact that you are so dramatically shaken up out of your traditional, like you mentioned, I'm Link, I have a sword, I'm going to hit the enemies and kill them. The fact that you're shaken up out of that is really interesting to me. I think it was probably a big gamble for them, and I don't know if it's going to. I know the game got decent review scores, but I don't know if it's going to affect the longevity or not. It's called Zelda, but everybody wants to play as Link, right? So hopefully, I think it's good if people give it a chance, but I'm just a little nervous about that. But I love the fact that instead of being the warrior, I mean, you are a warrior, but instead of being the person with the sword and shield and everything, you're having to use these echoes. And I had somebody ask me the other day, like, what's an echo? So if you aren't aware, you get the ability to essentially copy the pattern for an enemy or an object in the world, and then you can spawn those. And you have, depending on how far in the game you are, you have a certain amount of spawns you can make, and they're based on like a point system and everything. So you have a certain amount of spawns you can make, and you can spawn a bed in, or a jar, or certain types of NPCs that are that can take out enemies for you. You can make it so that you have wood crates that you can walk across platforms with and create your own platforms and be able to get to places. You have a trampoline, and this is all just. I'm sure there's plenty more, but this is all in the early stages of the game. So I really like the whole shake up in. It's still very much a Zelda game, but there's a big shake up in how you actually play it, and that is pretty cool. I think that is as cool as it is potentially detrimental to the style of the game, because we've had like 20 entries of Zelda games where you've played as Link with a sword, and we're changing it now. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but it feels good to play, so that's okay with me. I will say I feel like I'm exploring very quickly. Like maybe there's more of the map that opens up, but like I look at my map and I've barely done anything, and I'm like, wow, most of the map that's available here I've already unlocked, and like unlocked fast travel points. And maybe that's just because of the way I'm playing it, or maybe that's the way it's intended to be played, or like I said, maybe there's way more map that opens up. But I'm a little worried about that. Not worried. I'm like, okay, well, it would have been cool if it took me longer to get to these places and unlock them and everything. It's very puzzly, which can be a huge thing. It is very much a Zelda thing, but it's got a lot of puzzles aspects, and I normally am not a big fan of puzzle heavy games, but the way this one does it, where you have to experiment with what you spawn in with the TriCaster, is pretty cool. And the fact that you have to, maybe you come up with something and you're like, I don't know how to take this out, and then you go explore a little further and you find something that you can copy and then use that. That's the obvious choice to go and take that thing out that you were struggling with before. I think that's cool. Negative wise, I'm just going to say again, this has been beaten to death, but it is a real issue. The performance in this game is absolutely abysmal. And I have talked about before how I very rarely have ever taken my Switch out of handheld mode. Like I always just play it on the go. But now I'm playing it. I have it an Elgato capture card. I'm just playing it on my monitor here at my desk, and it is absolutely terrible docked. And then I'm like, at first I was like, man, are all the games this bad when they're docked? Like they feel this bad? But I find myself, they're not, by the way. I find myself continually like playing it that way, and then I'm like, you know what? And I just grab it and sit here and play instead, or get up and go somewhere else and play it, because it feels a little better on the smaller screen because of the frame rate issues and everything. And I know it's the Switch. I know it's getting old. I know it's a cutesy Zelda game, but like, and I know I'm a bit of a snob about frame rate, but it is actually so bad that there are times when I just have to close my eyes for a minute because it's making me sick.
I felt like Tears ran better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it actually did, but yeah, something about.
I don't know
this
if
game.
it did, but I think it might be because of the style of the game or how zoomed in you are or something. But I just can't believe that a Nintendo first-party Zelda game is running this poorly, and there's no way they didn't know that, right? And they only announced this game a couple months ago, so it's not like they couldn't have chosen to wait until the next console. So it's really surprising to me that it did this way. And there was a brief, if I didn't love Zelda so much, there was a moment where I was like, I'm just going to wait to play this on the next Switch. I chose not to do that ultimately, but that actually crossed my mind. Fortunately or unfortunately, I'm too big of a Zelda lover to do that. So that's really rough. And then the other thing is when you're choosing your echoes, when you're choosing the things that you're spawning in, the way to do that is very incredibly clunky, in my opinion. So you have your Switch controller, whether it's a Pro controller or whatever, and you've got the joysticks and everything. In order to spawn in the right thing, you gotta push the right. Is it right? One of the D-pad buttons.
Right. Yeah.
The right one, and then scroll through all your different echoes until you find the right one. Now, fortunately, everything around you stops moving. It's like a miniature pause screen, but you've got to actually go and find the right one. And there's a sort option like most recently learned, and maybe there's one that's like most recently used or something along those lines that pulls those back up for you. You can choose to do that, but overall, it would just be way better if you could like pick your 10 favorites and have those in there, and then the rest of them put on in a different menu that you could access a different way.
Remember,
and I think Dave. Sorry, real quick. I'll just say this real quick. I think to your point, it's good because it forces. Oh, wow, you're right. I have a table here I could use instead of this bed for the 800th time. I think that like that's good that you could see things and experiment with them. But I hate the fact that like I'm literally scrolling sometimes for a couple seconds before I find the right thing. Sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
Yeah, and when you want to find something that you haven't used yet or haven't used in a while. But I feel like I had the same issue in Tears when you were picking something to attach to your bow. Like you literally just had this bar and you were scrolling through it endlessly. So it's literally a problem that's been carried over, and it's crazy that it wasn't addressed because people were pretty vocal about it being an issue there.
Yeah.
So
it's a crazy design decision in my opinion.
Yeah.
Combined with the fact that it's the performance is crazy bad as well, and I think Nintendo knows that the people playing their games, the customer base, is not going to stop playing their games because of performance issues. I mean, the newest Pokemon still sold 1 billion copies, and I'm sure this Zelda game is going to sell at least a couple million easily. But it sucks. Nintendo hates you. Nintendo hates its consumers. Don't let anyone try to gaslight you into thinking they care about you.
How dare you?
I'm gonna
Did
make.
you
a
make
video
it come
about it.
smoothie yet?
No, I have not even unlocked the ability to make things like that. Or if I have, I don't know how.
Oh shit. We're outside of the news, but how do you feel about Tencent thinking about purchasing some of Ubisoft, Dave? Do you know about this?
Yeah, I'm not cool with that. It goes back to the Saudi thing. I'd prefer my beloved companies to kind of stay on their own, but
Especially Tencent, dude.
the problem is they're buying low if that's what they're gonna do, and Ubisoft might look at that and be like, it's not a bad idea, but whether that actually happens or not is it's a long way off. So we'll see.
I don't like that they're talking about it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, fair enough.
Maybe they'll make them better.
No. Maybe they'll put them in the fucking dirt where they belong. Hopefully they sell the goddamn IP first.
I
Bring
jumped
back
ship from Ubisoft to Nintendo, and now you guys are talking bad about Nintendo. Like, who do I need to shill for?
Dude, just be a Sony pony, and then everyone loves you, dude.
I can't. There's too many of those. It's way too many of those.
I prefer for you to love no one equally.
I hate everyone all the same.
Yes, that is where I'm at. And that's
I'm
where
an equal opportunity hater.
Certified hater.
Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Don't forget to go over to patreon.com/handsomephantom to sign up for as little as $1 a month to help support us. And join us in the Discord, handsomephantom.com/Discord. Hang out with us. Join the party. We're gonna come up with we're gonna end the show here for audio listeners. We're gonna come up with the show name and head out. But otherwise, we'll see you next week. If you're here live Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern. If you're not, you already know where to find us. Have a good night.
Yeah, so
Suggestions?
Brandon, no, hold on. Brandon,
Okay.
in Echoes of Wisdom, you know how in Tears of the Kingdom in Breath of the Wild you had like food crafting where you would throw ingredients in?
Be like junk. It'd
Yeah,
be like
so-
strange gruel.
So there's the same idea in Echoes of Wisdom, but it's smoothies and it's
Oh,
just two
no.
ingredients. So you collect all these ingredients and there's with one you can make where it's just milk and salt.
It's the cum
And-
shake, dude.
a healthy blend of creaminess and salt packed with nutrients and flavor.
Dude, I can make that all day and night, baby. Asking you shall receive.
I laughed really hard when I saw that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Dude, Saudi Big Planet? Is that is that the title, baby?
Inshallah, suck boy.
I was just gonna say something like that. Little Big. What are the religious leaders called?
Shake.
Little Big Shik?
No, shakes aren't religious.
Sheik.
leaders.
Wahala? Or what are they?
We gotta
I
be
don't know.
careful here, fellas.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'm appropriating culture. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to come up with a title. Little Big Sack Saudi boy. I don't know.
Maybe just leave Saudi out of the title entirely. I don't want
Planet of Arabia 3.
Oh my gosh. Where's Poot? Poot has good names. We need a name.
Dude, Poot's watching on the 77-inch, baby.
He's got a phone. Don't you guys have phones?
What about RIPSM?
Rips them. R period I period PSM.
You got it.
Whatever. Shaking things up.
That might be better. Don't. Could you say don't?
Who fucking cares, dude?
All right. Was it PSM? Yeah. RIPSM.
RIPSM.
All right. Let's get out of here. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for hanging out.
Goodbye.
Thanks for the suggestion, but we don't want to have a fatwa against us
Train time.
or anything. You're doing laundry? Screw you, Poop. Goodbye. Train time. That's right.